Hi everyone, I'm back with Magic Treehouse Leprechaun in Late Winter, Chapter 8, The Hollow Hill. The leprechaun scrambled down the steep bank of the river. Jack started to follow, but Annie grabbed him. "Jack, the whistle won't work for Willie," she said. "I know," said Jack. "We'll worry about that later. Right now, we just have to save Augusta. Come on." Jack and Annie hurried after Willie to the wide, rushing river. "How do we get across?" Jack asked. "Follow me along the river," said Willie, "and I'll show you. Step lightly." Willie skipped ahead of them along the riverbank. Jack and Annie followed. Jack tried to step lightly, but it was impossible. Slopping through the mud, his boots filled with ooze and made squishing sounds with every step. The river grew narrower and narrower, twisting and turning like a snake. The mist grew thicker until Jack could hardly see a thing. He bumped into Willie, almost knocking him over. "Careful, laddie," said the leprechaun. "Sorry," said Jack. "All right," said Willie. "Here's where we cross. Hop from stone to stone after me." Willie disappeared into the mist, crossing the river. Annie followed him. Jack started across too. He tried to hop carefully from stone to stone, but the stones were slippery. On his third hop, his boot slid off a mossy rock and he splashed into the freezing water. "Jack, are you okay?" Annie called in a loud whisper. Yeah, I'm fine," Jack said. He scrambled up. His clothes were soaked and heavy. He really was miserable now. He waded to the other side of the river and joined Annie and Willie. "Ah, you fell in," said Willie. "That happens sometimes. Come with me now into the forest." Jack, Annie, and Willie walked under the trees. They passed old oaks and maples that creaked in the wind. Jack shivered in his soaking wet clothes. A big black crow called from a high, bare branch. Willie jumped, then laughed. "Ah, 'tis probably Patrick Daly," he said. "Rumor is the she changed him into a crow for stealing a pair of High Queen's shoes." "Changed him into a crow?" said Jack. Willie nodded. "One of the she's favorite tricks," he said. "Changing humans who displease them into animals." "Oh," said Jack. And then, let me show you this real quick before I keep going. A white rabbit scampered through the forest. "That bunny over there is no doubt the former Mrs. Shan McCarty. She was rude to the High King," said Willie. "Rude to the High King?" said Jack. He was starting to feel like he was trapped in a nightmare. "The she cannot bear the rudeness of humans," said Willie. "Look there." He pointed to a fawn peeking out from behind a fir tree. "Oh, it's so cute," said Annie. "Cute? Maybe, maybe not," said Willie. "Could easily be old John Foley. I heard he was changed just for being a grouch. Come along." Willie led Jack and Annie through the forest until they came to a tangle of briars and brambles. "The hollow hill of the she lies just beyond the thicket," he said to them. "Do you still want to go and find your friend?" "Yes," said Jack and Annie. "Then off you go, and good luck to you," said Willie, tipping his hat. "What? Aren't you coming with us?" said Jack. "Oh my, no," said Willie. "The she would be furious if they knew I'd shown humans the path to their secret hiding place. And I certainly don't want to live the rest of my life as a weasel." "But won't they be angry at us for finding their hiding place?" said Jack. "Possibly," said Willie. "Here's what I recommend you do. Politely tell the High King and the High Queen that you've just come looking for your dear friend to take her back to her loving family. The she place very great value on friendship and family." "Okay," said Jack. "Friendship and family. And remember, Be simple, direct, and honest at all times, said Willie. Simple, direct, honest, repeated Jack. And polite. That's the most important. Very, very polite, said Willie. Very polite, said Annie. Got it. Another thing, said Willie. In the world of the Sidhe, the old tales still live, so do not be afraid if you see odd sights floating about. They're just bits and pieces of the old stories. Now go, be simple, direct, honest, and polite, and save your dear friend before she's lost forever. Thanks, Willie, said Annie. Best of luck, said Willie. See you later, said Jack. I'll be waiting for you, said the leprechaun. Jack and Annie crouched down and started through the thicket. Thorns and briars pulled at Jack's wet coat. They scratched his hands and got caught in his hair. Jack battled his way through the tangled brush until he caught up with Annie. They both pushed their way out of the thicket and stepped into a glade. Wow, it's like Mary said, whispered Annie. It is like summer here. No rain fell, no wind blew. Warm sunshine shone on the emerald green glade. In the middle of the glade was a large grassy mound. At the foot of the mound was a small doorway framed by stones. That must be it, the hollow hill, said Jack. The secret home of the Sidhe. And that must be someone from an old story, whispered Annie. She pointed to a woman floating above the green mound. The woman wore a wreath of flowers on her head and carried a branch with silver apples. She vanished in the sunny haze. Whoa, whispered Jack. A small sailing ship then appeared in the air. It had white sails and flags flying. The ship, too, vanished. Then an old woman spinning at a spinning wheel appeared. Then a wispy dragon. Then a knight with the sword. The parade of images faded into the sunshine like wisps of smoke. Whew, said Jack. Listen, said Annie. The sound of drumming was coming from the doorway of the grassy mound. Come on, let's look inside, said Annie. Jack and Annie snuck close to the small doorway. It was no higher than Jack's waist. He and Annie knelt down and peeked inside. The hollow hill was filled with a pale green light. Very small dancers, none more than 8 inches tall, were bathed in the light. As drummers pounded tiny drums, the dancers danced together in rows. They held their arms straight by their sides, and kicked their legs and turned around and around to the rhythm of the drums. A small shining couple sat on high golden chairs watching the dancers. They wore golden crowns. They must be the High King and the High Queen, whispered Annie. Jack and Annie watched until the rows of dancers parted. Then they could see a third person watching the dance. She was no taller than the dancers. Draped around her shoulders was a red cape. It's Augusta, said Annie. And that's the end of the chapter. I'll see you next time for chapter 9. Have a great day.